Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Jasmy update. The Jasmy price that is threatening here to pull off an insane bull run in the immediate short term. And if this really happens, we could actually lose control of the Jasmy price. That I really don't know if that means anything, honestly. But before we get into the content, I want to kindly ask you to help me spread the video by delicately tapping the like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm. People looking for Jasmy content will now be able to find this video much more easily. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel just yet, I would encourage you to do so, really, because I do TA on Jasmy and a number of altcoins on a regular basis. And without me further running my mouth too much, let's get back into the price. So of late, really, on a daily time frame, we have been looking at the Jasmy price at this way, saying that, you know what, there is going to be a 25% pump back to our main resistance here once we break and close a daily candle above something like $0.0065 per Jasmy. Once we satisfy that condition, you saw Jasmy rising all the way up here, and of course we no longer have 25% left in that move. We only have something like 9-10% at most, right? So I mean, we are looking pretty good here, getting back to that main resistance that we have been talking about for a very long time, honestly. But here the question obviously remains, what happens beyond $0.008 per Jasmy? So let's quickly talk about that. I want to take you to a different chart here, in which you can see here that the Jasmy price set has been in this descending triangle here. And if you want to go for the technical price target here of this one, you want to take the thickest part of the triangle, and you are looking at something like 212-214% thereabout from the level of breakout, in which you can see already that we already had the nice back test there. We are looking set for that 200% move that we were talking about, right? So what you want to do next here is you want to see if there is any confluence of that price again, right? So coming back there, we want to see and find out if we have anything to the left side of the chart which has got confluence there. And we have an interesting level here, which is something like 1.8 cents here for the Jasmy price. That will be fantastic, obviously. But we also notice that this is also the same level that we have actually seen in markets time and again, which is something like the rally prior to this capitulation here. Let me also quickly show you how significant this could be. Taking a look at the stellar lumens price at here XLM, you can also see that this was the rally prior to this capitulation here, and you can see here that with stellar lumens, after this grew some price action, it went back to that rally prior to this capitulation here, right? The other example that we can take a look at is Sia coin, in which you can see that after this bear structure here, it still managed to get back to that rally prior to capitulation, which we were indicating on the Jasmy price. That another example would be Akash. Another example here, probably taking a look at Ocean Protocol, you can still see that level that it is actually a suspect, right? So coming back to the Jasmy price set, you can see that is the same level here, which is the rally prior to the capitulation. But to be fair here, one could actually say that, you know what, this is not the rally prior to the capitulation. This level right here, something like 1.1 cent, is the rally prior to capitulation, because you know what, it actually is a much bigger rally, and then the capitulation was also a bigger, right? That could actually be a case, honestly, but I was just looking at this level since we already have a structure that is indicating and pointing to that level already. So the 1.1 cent could actually be another price target. But then again, this is not the whole story with the Jasmy price. Let's quickly go back to the weekly time frame, which you can see that there is this falling wedge that we have been talking about for a very long time, honestly. And honestly, falling wedges are pretty good when it comes to hitting their price targets, because they almost have something like a 66% success rate to go ahead and reach their price targets, of which you are looking at 2 of them here. You are looking at something like 5 cents thereabout. You're also taking a look at something like 9, 10, 11 cents thereabout, right? If you really want to be super bullish here on the Jasmy price set. But what you end up noticing is that we still need a break and close above something like $0.008 on the Jasmy price set right here, right, to complete this whole backtest price here. Now we may actually just need a weekly close of something like a 0.0074 here on the Jasmy price set, because that would be the highest weekly candle that we would have had here for more than 1 year actually, because we broke out here in January 2023. So when this week closes here, this would be a whole year of a backtest of this falling wedge. And I can tell you with a high degree of certainty, when this thing finally decides to move, we are going to be in for some great price action. Now, taking a look at the RSI, this is really what has me excited. This is the RSI on a weekly time frame, and you can see that we are approaching those levels of euphoria. Once we enter the 70 mark territory, closing at least a weekly candle inside of that level, I can tell you that, this will be euphoria like at its best. I really can't explain. Most people would interpret this as, you know what, this thing is overbought, but this is just an indication, in my own opinion, that, you know what, we are in for that bull run that we have all been waiting for. And this move that we are seeing here could actually be someone's first 10x here on Jasmy. Right now we are sitting at something like 6 to 8 at the moment. We just have like 2% more to go. This is something that I'll be looking forward to when we close the weekly candle this week. And of course, we are not only talking about these things, we are literally putting our money where our mouth is. You can see, for example, the trade that we took 2 days ago is already up something like 27%. Of course, this is just the beginning. There's still more to come. So if you are interested in these trade signals with exact entry levels, TPs, as well as stop losses, and even leverage sometimes, right? Feel free to join my Patreon here. The link will be down there in the comment section. And so now we finally get to the point where we really get under the skin of the Jasmy bears here, because each and every single time I bring this chart here on the Jasmy price set, I receive like a lot of crazy comments right here, right? So I'm going to show you one more time, and you are going to be the judges anyway, right? So taking a look at the Jasmy price, I mean, I was just showing you the whole structure, right? The all-time price section of Jasmy, really, it doesn't look too good. But once you zoom in here, you can actually see an optimistic structure that we have seen time and again in markets here, in which you can see that this was the value when Jasmy was going to 33 cents back then, you know, in 2021, right? But take a look at the structure right here, the crashing structure, and then also this value right here before it just flattens out right here. This is something that we have seen time and again in markets, as I mentioned already. But take a look at this. This is Ethereum, for example. You can also see Ethereum doing the same thing. Obviously, this was the rise that we were talking about right before flattening out, but this one was a little bit bigger than the Jasmy price as well. We can also see the same thing happening with Cardano back then in the 2018 bear market, and you can see that's basically the same thing. Even this rally prior to this flattening out here is also the same thing, right? We can take a look at the example of Neo, for example, Neo coin. You can see this is basically the same thing. Even this rise here before that crashing happens here is also looking exactly the same with what Jasmy was doing right here. So now I've been saying that, okay, I've seen this thing before, not only these three examples right here, but they are applicable. Maybe one day I'll just sit down and list all the examples right here. If you are willing to watch the video, obviously we'll go through that here. So the next thing that you expect here is the Jasmy price that will still continue following in this structure right here. Now, this is where the bulls really get triggered, because they say, okay, how can you compare Cardano to, you know, Jasmy, or how can you compare Ethereum to Jasmy, right? The reason why I do that is because the chart look the same. That's number one. And secondly, the market participants are the same, right? If you are doubting this, take a look at this Cardano price set. Like right now, this is the current Cardano price set here. And now this is the current Jasmy price set. This again is the Cardano price set. They really just look the same, right? No matter how different they may be, even if Jasmy is still in the innovation zone, the market participants really are behaving the same. They are not the same, obviously, in terms of, you know, what their purposes and how big they are. But then again, just taking a look at these structures, really, this is the same thing that has been happening here. So what we were doing here is we were grabbing a fib retracement 2 from the very top of these structures here, right? And then grabbing it to, you know, the bottom of the structure. Then you can see Cardano reach something like a 2.618 fib extension level there, and you can also see that if the same thing would happen to Jasmy here, not even treating Jasmy like with its previous all-time high, but just taking a look at that peak there, which is 33 cents, we grab our favorite retracement 2, we do the same thing right here to the very bottom. You can see that Jasmy would actually be reaching towards something like 86 cents, right? To follow the trajectory that Cardano was following right there, right? Now you notice that I mentioned Neo, which is one which didn't get back to its previous high, and applying the same thing of the favorite retracement 2 right here from the very top to the bottom. You can see Neo hitting something like a 702 favorite retracement level there, coming back to Jasmy, right? Jasmy, by then it should actually be at something like 23 cents, a very reasonable price target in my own opinion. And then in the best case scenario that we saw there was Ethereum, and Ethereum did something like a, you know, at 3.618 fib extension level there. You can see it right here. Now this is the market cap, and the market cap extends all the way to something like the 4.236. Now this is when I say Jasmy could also reach a price target of the same, which would actually something like $1.20 at the best case scenario. Now this is the best case scenario. It might happen, it might not happen, but just from a chart perspective, this is looking incredible. It actually looks like something that can actually happen. And mind you, we are not even considering the other parts of the Jasmy price here, because obviously by then we had a low circulating supply, right? And so just considering 33 cents as the previous high here, a full extension here would actually be something like $1.36. Like these price targets are way high from where we are at the moment. But the honest truth is that You can never imagine how something is going to grow. I mean, it's very difficult to imagine something exponential, right? When people were buying Bitcoin at $1, could you have told them that, you know what, that thing you are buying for $1 in the future, it will eventually be something like $70,000? That, I mean, that's really, really silly to tell anyone, right? So yeah, the argument here is that Jasmy will never reach a market cap, because here, if Jasmy reaches, $1.20, the market cap will be 60 billion. Jasmy will never reach 60 billion in terms of market cap. Who knows? I mean, I really don't know the nitty gritties of the project, but what if really it ends up being very, very successful? I can never know that, right? So this is a price tag that is possible. I'm not really saying that this is when I'll be selling Jasmy, obviously, because by the time we even get to 20 cents, I mean, I would have made, like, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds on Jasmy. But everybody knows their needs, and they exactly know where they want to pull off their Jasmy. But then again, in terms of that market cap again, I mean, the way it's calculated in crypto is actually flawed, because they just multiply, the current price of the item, and then with the circulating supply. It really doesn't resemble how much money has gone into that specific ecosystem or that specific coin, right? So, I mean, to each their own, but obviously none of what I say is financial advice, and you shouldn't buy or sell anything because of anything I say, all right? But if you like the content, don't forget to tap the like button, share the video with your friends and family, and then I'll be able to see you on the next one. Take good care of yourselves. Bye.